Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Sid, as you can see on the screen right there. And I am here with two amazing people, DK and Patchy, and we are bringing you the hottest action in the best of esports tournaments. That is the Umzansi Esports League Season 4. See, I gotta bring my hand up so I don't forget that it's 4 and not 3. Anyways, hi guys, how you doing today? We have an amazing lineup for you. Let us take a look at the schedule for today.
Yeah, it's the same schedule that we've got yesterday and the same schedule we got today, and I would hazard a guess that it's going to be the same schedule tomorrow.
That might be a safe bet, Patchy.
I would say so. Yeah.
It is three amazing maps: Erangel, Sanhok, and Miramar, and we do know that you do not want to miss any of this action tonight. But ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Why all the hullabaloo? What's all the noise about? Why are we shouting? It is because there is a prize pool that, as we say in Nigeria, is going to bust people's heads. The season 4 prize pool is $17,500. That is $15,000 for the PUBG Mobile prize pool and $2,500 for the FIFA 22 prize pool. Listen, that means that people are fighting for big ego, aka cash. You understand me now? You're getting me. So let us take at how these people are going to get to where they're getting to get this money. You understand me now? That means when they switch over, we're taking to take a look at the leaderboards to understand where the people are right now in the race for this money. Thank you very much. Let us see the leaderboard.
Ooh. All right.
And
well,
as you can see, go ahead, Patchy, tell them what is happening because
all right. Let's have a look and see what's going on here on the leaderboard. For a bit of a refresher, we're not going to look at this too much, but you can see Rilla Insiders, Slime4KT, and KHK, G3 Tampa, as well as C Esports in the top 5 slots. And I think those are really the teams that we've been seeing hovering around the top of this leaderboard basically the entire time. I mean, non-stop. Influence Rage and Zero Tolerance actually also sporting their faces on this first page for quite some time. Team Somalia having made it up recently, I think, in yesterday's games.
Can I just cut you in the Patchy very quickly? I'm super excited about the distribution of the national flags. That is like Africa represented to the fullest in the top 8. I see South Africa, Nigeria. If I'm not mistaken, that's the Ivory Coast, Madagascar, or Mozambique, and Somalia. This is just a true representation of Africa, and that is what Northern Gaming Africa is about.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had such a really great turn up as well. We've had a turnout for just about all across the African continent, really. I mean, just about everyone sporting a team at least all over the show. And even in today's groupings, we have quite a number of teams. Of course, we'll get to see those groupings just a little bit later. But for now, as we move down through the list, you can see the second page also looking pretty good. Nobody's gotten on to that 100-point mark just yet here. But I think it's safe to say that all of these teams are feeling pretty good. They're feeling safe as well, especially here on page number 3. This is where we have to start looking at the relative safety of these bottom teams. I'm going to, of course, be pointing down to the likes of the Comfy 6 and Sincerity Esports, who are sitting in 23 and 24 at the moment. Those teams, they need to keep putting some points on the board if they don't want to dip below that waterline again. We saw Comfy 6 yesterday doing a really good job just to put some points on the board, enough for them to get off the 4th page. And that's basically the goal right now. As we move into the second half of this round, and we push through, they're going to have to start worrying about whether they have enough points to stay off that 4th page. So we're going to have a look and see what the cutoff line is at the moment. So, of course, 44 points is the 25th slot right now. That is really the ultimate sort of cutoff point. We're going to see how any of these teams dip above or below that particular line there. I do expect to see a few changes as time does progress forward, but I'm not sure. I think EXO Redefined we have in the groupings today. they're sitting all the way down in position number 30. So they need, what, 10 points at least, 12 points to try and even out with position number 25. So they've got to have a pretty decent performance today if they want to get themselves off of this page, but it's not impossible.
You know, there's just one name missing on this list, which is Citizens Gaming. So unfortunate that they're not here. But this is what happens when you don't put your best in the Umzansi Esports League. You get relegated, and you're not going to be playing for the big bucks. I'm pretty hoping up for teams like Fear and Rain to just at least move up that leaderboard. But Patchy, talk us through. DK, could you talk us through the point structure and what these teams have to do to get up and move up in the world?
Well, of course, they need to utilize the point structures we can see currently on screen, starting off with 15 points for first place, trickling all the way down to where you get 0 points if you finish up in 13th to 16th place. Of course, that ever important 1 point per kill. And now we've seen a few teams actually start to bring in some decent amount of kills on the board. One team in particular that stands out with that, of course, is the side of Slime 4KT. But if we look at the leaderboard, the team currently in the groups playing today, sitting at the top, is going to be G3 Temper, that has been able to find 73 kills so far. So definitely utilizing that 1 point per kill. And that is what greatly assists these teams. If they can find the balance between the standings in which they finish and, of course, getting those kills in, we could really see some beautiful 30-pointer games coming out. And, of course, speaking about those kills, here we have our kill leaders. We've got Mr. Zeke there from Rilla Insider, leading the pack with 32 kills, doing over 5,000 damage. Of course, we jump over onto Fex, who's brought in 25 kills for the team, sitting on 5,900 damage. That is absolutely insane. That is almost the equivalent of 60 kills being dealt. And now as we move into our third one, we've got G3 Gunner representing for the side of G3 Temper, coming in with 24 kills, 44 and 24 damage on board. And of course, again for Slime 4KT, we got 5 coming in with a very comfortable 21. But we're seeing some pretty impressive damage numbers on the board. The survival time also looking absolutely fantastic. And I mean, we're only in the early stages of this tournament, still playing through these group stages, and it's going to be quite different once we get into those later weeks, closer to the next section, where some of the teams will get promoted into the next phase, and other teams, of course, won't be moving on through. So I'm expecting those numbers to be changing up quite a bit as the teams go head-to-head in the coming few matches.
Yes, this we will be shedding the something from the shaft. Is it, as they were saying like that? There's a shaft that goes to be thrown away, and there's the part that you keep, which I can't remember what it is right now, but I will Google when people are playing the game, and I'll come back and say it again. But the shaft will not follow us into the next round, which is what we're going to be doing, separating the beans from the weed. Now let's take a look at the teams in Group C and D that will be qualifying and jamming themselves today. Take it away, Pachi.
Yeah, of course. Let's just quickly skim across through the groups. As you mentioned, we got C versus D today. In Group C, as you can see here on your screen, we've got the likes of ATROX, 7AOK. We've got Influence Rage and Aphelion Apex as well. Immortalz, Toxic Esport, Zero Tolerance Skills, Rain from Hell. Out of this pack, I do expect to be seeing something out of Zero Tolerance and Influence Rage for sure. I think they've been showing us some really good performances and quite some good consistency coming through throughout the season so far. Same can be said about 7AOK. They've also been doing pretty well, although not as consistent, I think, at least, as the other two teams, ZTS and Influence. So, yeah, I'd say this is a pretty strong group right here, which I actually hope I'm going to see a little bit more from. I actually have some things to say about that, but we will hold off on that for just a little bit, because, of course, we still also have to take a look at Group D, which comprises of a solo esport, the Magicians, Sidemen, the Natural Killers, Black Crystal, G3 Temper, EXO Redefined, and the Infinity AF, out of which I think the G3 Temper team is probably the most prominent here. Maybe the likes of the Magicians as well also could come into the conversation there, although they did drop off as the season has been moving along. They started off a little bit strong, but not so much as we've moved through. But G3 still sitting towards the top of that leaderboard and still bringing to the table quite a powerful punch. And, I think with such heavy hitters in both C and D, I do expect to see some pretty good gameplay coming out in today's games.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is a look at the Group D and Group C squads that are going to be going head to head today, bashing themselves and hoping to get some major points that will move them up the leaderboard. Now, it is almost that time for the guys to jump in the plane, jump out of the plane, land on a map that is called Erangel, shoot each other, get some kills, get up the leaderboard, and come home with the winner chicken dinner, which they will not share with anybody but themselves because me, I'm a big chicken fan, but all the winner chicken dinner I've been seeing in these tournaments, nobody has given me even a drumstick just chew and just enjoy myself. They're just winner chicken dinnering themselves. Anyways, we're super excited about what's going to happen next. DK, what teams are you looking out for today? And what do you think? Who do you think needs to come correct today to move up the leaderboard?
So, looking at what we currently have with the teams participating, we had a look at the overall standings. I'm expecting to see a bit of a continuation coming in from the players there of Seven Sins, as well as, I got to agree with Patchy, Influence Rage, and of course the team there from Zero Tolerance Skills. I'm not going to be too surprised if G3 brings in another strong dominating play once again. But we got to look at a few of the teams situated a little bit further down the list. And as we can see, of course, the players there from Toxic Esports, they find themselves sitting all the way in that 31st position. So hopefully the stars start aligning a little bit more for them today as they go through these 3 games. And I mean, this is still a learning curve, right? The teams come in, they're looking to try and kind of find that rhythm, trying to find that flow that works for them. So let's hope to see a bit of an improvement, not from any particular team, but actually from all of them.
So I mean, but we've known, I mean, watching season 3 and seeing how the action built up over time, and we've always said this thing that going at it from the get go is the way to go. If you look at the teams that are up the leaderboard, they don't play passively. They're highly aggressive. They go out, they go for the kills, they go for those numbers. So all these teams that are feeling like you can just be running around, gathering your pepper, your salts, and your fork and knife, and the plates and setting the table, waiting for winner chicken dinner. When there are people that are actually going around and killing numerous chickens to make sure that their dinner is looking very hefty and very, very robust, you obviously know what's going to happen. Even if they don't win the winner chicken dinner, they have enough drumstick, arms, legs to probably put together a whole chicken. If you understand my analogy, that means that people that are going around and collecting all the kills around the place will be collecting different parts of the chicken. And at the end of the day, the sum of the parts can be greater than the whole. Yes, that's what I'm saying. And it makes a lot of sense. Anyways, we are almost live on Erangel. Hachi, I know DK said some stuff you agree with, but what are you looking for today in this first match as we go in?
Well, I mean, that's actually something that I alluded to a little bit earlier, and I have to echo DK and your own words in your very beautiful chicken analogy there. I think I have to agree. One thing that I've been really, I think I can say critical. I think I've been a little bit critical of this, and especially yesterday, what I was seeing coming out in some of the gameplay is that it really, really is this very slow early game. And there's a huge focus on placements, which I think is a little bit erroneous if you had to ask me. I think that teams are placing a little bit too much emphasis on the whole placement point game. And I would like to put forward and make the contention that kills are so much more important. Like, I think priority should be on the kills almost every single time, because you can, and we have seen it so many times where teams pick up more kills than placement points. Right? I mean, I've seen a team like, for instance, G3 or 4KT pick up so many kills that even if they got 0 placement points, they would still be number 1. They would beat the chicken dinner winner just with those kills. Exactly.
Amazing. So let's see who is going to go out and be collecting chicken parts, aka kills, in this first match. As I, Dr. Sid, leave in the very, 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 very capable hands of DK and Patchy. See you guys after the first match.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Sid. We are moving in. It's map number 1. Things are already getting nice and spicy, which is great to see. We have a flight path that's very, very down south, which is good. We've got to drop down onto that island, so the patchy points are rolling already, and we've got some fights, which is exactly what I like to see. And that's what I was saying, DK. I want to see those fights happen early on because I want to see the priority on those kills.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you. You know, kills is where it's at. I mean, so many teams have been able to secure very, very strong finishes with regards to the total points, and a majority of that coming in from those kills alone. But of course, if you look at it this way as well, right? If you get a kill, you are confirmed that point. You are not guaranteed a particular position. So if you want to ensure that you can try and close a particular gap, kills is one of the strongest methods to apply to just push yourself up that leaderboard and into the position where you want to be. But of course, now we got to look at to see who exactly is going to be coming in swinging to this match. We have the players here from ATROX and Aphelion Apex side by side over in towards Lipovka.
Yeah, we've got some mobilizations nice and early on, which is good. You can see ATROX just testing the waters. They've split off 2-2 and not deciding to go head-to-head with Aphelion Apex just yet. So Lipovka is contested, but no super big fights happening just yet, although at least there's some pressure happening. I think that's really the goal here. I want to see a nice shift in towards activity. I want to see people get things done. We've got a nice kill feed going off there as well. So things are happening, certainly, and I think we're probably going to see some kills come off the back of a lot of the rotations that need to happen because of the fact that the zone and the flight path were a little bit separated there, just not too much, but there is enough that the rotations will certainly be a little bit of an issue. But, I mean, just to hop on what we were saying early on, I think that even following on the fact that you ignore placement points and prioritize kill points, I think if you do that, if you actually become capable and you go looking for some good fights and you take the good fights and you with that mindset of going for the kills and making things happen, I would contend that you actually also not only just get the kills, but you push yourself up that leaderboard as well. You get placement points just passively.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% agree with you on that. And now it's the game is on. We already have two teams getting ready to fight it out already. They've started fighting, that being the players coming in on the side here of Solo. And it is going to be interesting to see what they'll have. Of course, Solo is the Senegali team. In fact, I think it's the only team from Senegal in this lobby here. Well, in all the groups, Group A, B, and C.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, as well as D. Obviously, can't forget Group D, which is the group that they're in. But it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to go about this engagement. Of course, going up against the players there from XO Redefined, and the pressure is on. I mean, it's Mauritius versus Senegal, the fight for Pachinki. Who will be the victors? We don't know just yet. We'll be finding out pretty soon. But it's good to see some nice early game aggression coming in from these teams. If we look back to last week, of course, the zone sitting in a very, very similar position as what we had in our first match for Group C and Group D. I'm curious to see whether or not, of course, the zone is going to be ending up in the same place. It headed straight over in towards that shooting range kind of area. So the teams have had a very similar kind of run already at this current zone, at this current phase. But as we look over on towards the eastern side, got a little bit of potential coming in from the side there as the teams are making their way on through, looking to push up, looking to find themselves in a decent position. And in fact, sorry, I actually said that the players there from the Affinity AF team was XO Redefined, but well, either way, it is going to be what it is. They are making their way on through, and yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what the players will bring. In fact, that is actually Somalia versus Senegal over in towards Pachinki Eastern side. Hoping it starts to heat up also over on towards Yasnaya. See a few teams in pretty close proximity, but Savoni itself, Patchy, so many hot drops.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not complaining really when it comes to that. If the more the merrier, really, because that of course means that we'll get some fights and there's at least some pressure coming through as well. So yeah, go for it. Get the hot drops in. I'm not necessarily saying hot drop all the time, but I do think that even if you decide not to, getting into a relatively close proximity with a team, even if you're in like the same region, right? Like you can walk across the way and go and find them. I think that's a better drop than just dropping in the middle of nowhere. In any case, the kill feed is a testament to some of the fighting that is happening. And if you turn your attention towards Toxic, they've already been engaged in a little bit of a tussle here. You can see Bash and Mr. Rogi have crawled down into this little hole here, and they are currently being sieged by the team there from Influence Rage, who are just moving straight on in. Toxic and Nades. Toxic not having too good of a time. Both of these teams, of course, being from South Africa. So we've got a little bit of a ZA versus ZA fight happening here in the tunnels. We'll see if Toxic can make it happen. The res is coming through as well. And Infinity have not decided to push through into the Tunnel of Doom just yet, which is probably a smart decision since it is quite a bit of a chokehold. You know, you just toss a few bullets down that particular location and your whole team can die. So they're doing well to just make sure that the team from Toxic is currently suppressed down underground.
Yeah, it is going to be a difficult position for Toxic to defend as they are outnumbered. But if they play this one well, we could actually see them bring in a few additional points. It is going to be a pretty tough push as well coming in from the side there of INF, as they're not going to have too great of a access into this lower section. But if they smoke it up, potentially send out a few nades, they could find an easy point. But now, in fact, they've decided to block the entry. There we go. It's like, all right, so you don't want to come out of your hole. We'll make sure that you cannot come out. All they need to do, in fact, now is actually just blow up the vehicle because Toxic can still use that vehicle at the current moment to get out of there.
Oh, man, this is the best strat ever. I mean, we've been seeing this more and more in recent times, but I just love this. You see Toxic taking the strat, like, okay, we'll go on the ground, you know, we'll use the advantage of having the home turf underneath here, you know, the chokeholds, it's great. And then the other team on the outside is like, you know what, we're just going to drive a truck into this hole, blow it up, and you guys have a good time finding yourselves down there because you're now stuck. So if you like it there, you're going to stay there the whole rest of the game, potentially. So I like that coming through, of course. They've actually jammed a bike in there as well. They didn't trust the truck. You know, they were like, that hole looks a little bit suspicious. We're going to jam a bike in there as well, just in case. Blow it up. I'm interested to see how Mr. Raji and Bash, I wonder if they can get over this, or is it, I think they've managed to just block it up enough. I don't think that's escapable. They're stuck.
Oh, that is a fat rip right there. Oh, wait.
They make it out. Hey, they've done it.
There we go. Mr. Raji, the legend, the escape artist, managing to wiggle his way out of there. Now, of course, the pressure is on looking to see whether or not Bash will be able to bash his way through. Currently still finds himself in zone, even though we have had that next phase, of course, popping in. Well, sorry, we're still in the first phase. Blue zone, a minute away from closing in. So Bash can actually take his time. He's got a whole minute to go. Meanwhile, we are going to be jumping straight up onto G3 as they are pushing a bit aggressively onto the place here from Aphelion. Apex Buren already getting knocked down. Tomac already getting eliminated. So with that, G3 down to potentially 3 remaining hopefuls. But now, Aphelion Apex looking to apply the pressure. We do see a nice off-angle rotation. The nade's getting cooked up, getting sent across. Up comes Kage, trying to find the angle. But Rusty also coming in from behind. There we go. The nade finds its point. Now the pressure is on. Six God, the last remaining hopeful, now looking to bring this one home just to try and outlast these nades getting sent in his direction. I can tell you, actually, this is going to be a pretty tough call, but up comes even more players as the team start rushing into the position. And this is where things could potentially get quite crazy as the Magicians start rolling ever closer.
Bash escapes from his hole as well, manages to get out of his tomb. So both of those players have managed to get out of their Toxic. We'll live to see another zone for now. G3, of course, getting engaged in that particular scenario. Not really what we expect coming out of them. Honestly, G3 shouldn't be losing a fight like that. But they got caught out. Some good nade work from Aphelion Apex. They're doing the damage. So a little bit unfortunate for them. In the meantime, of course, you can see the teams are slowly congregating. We have the Immortalz down south. They have decided to make a late entry. They're going the long way around, so they're choosing to play it a bit safe, although I think their prediction of seeing that any teams in Pachinki, of course, none of them are in that location anymore. Nonetheless, they're, at least they're cautious for now. I see a good concentration of teams just below towards the southeast of Rozhok, so maybe we'll see some fighting in that particular location. A lot of teams also moving in from the west, so maybe some fighting to happen on that side. But it's good that we're seeing teams get a little bit more active and a little bit more busy now in the early games. And this is exactly what we expect to see out of these teams as well. We were talking about a little bit of a high caliber of teams in these groups today. So it is good to see that is reflected in gameplay.
I'm curious to see what Manfilos is going to do today. Is he going to throw a few interesting mollies here once again? We know that, of course, coming into the lovely action over on towards the PMCO Africa, he liked to light himself up. That's when we do, we kind of, we dubbed him, we dubbed that move the man fillers. So we'll have to wait and see what happens today. Hopefully it doesn't happen once again. I'm pretty sure that he's kind of laid off those utils, but we can see the players there from Seven's Arts of Killing positioned over on towards the western side. Got to say, Center Zone itself starting to heat up quite a bit as we got quite a few teams already moving in towards that Rozhok region on the opposite end over towards the northern side. It is looking pretty compacted as well. But now, Aphelion, Apex, and ATROX keeping a very watchful eye on each other, waiting to see where that zone is going to be popping over towards. And we're waiting with big anticipation to see its circles and centers up right over towards Rozhok and Watertown. And now, Batchy, this is where the teams need to try and secure those strongholds, because Solo, they find themselves right there on the edge, the compound just off to the side of that bridge, of course. And that is a very strong compound to be holding in a zone like this.
Yeah, absolutely. It is definitely quite a strong point to have, nice and central into the zone, some good sight into the surrounding area. So maybe they can utilize that, as of course you can see quite a number of teams moving into the region around Rozhok, and of course School, where a lot of teams will have to re-enter into the zone. The western side and the southwestern side, not very populated whatsoever. The Immortalz, having made their safe rotation, are pretty much all alone there, so they have secured themselves a bit of a safe spot. So fights are really going to be happening up in the north and the northeast positions of these of this particular playable area. So that's where all the fighting is about to happen. As you can see, this team starting to stream in. It is going to absolutely explode. It is just a cocktail of death waiting to happen right now. The Magicians putting a couple of shots in as the teams do start to rotate across, trying to get a little bit of the damage done. Right now, as you mentioned, those teams are just scrambling for the stronghold.
Oh, a lot of scrambling coming through. Paradox trying to find the spray just off in the distance. Rusty does get taken right on down, but now the pressure is on. So many teams moving up in towards Rozhok. And this is where it's going to be important for the players to try and secure a strong angle to fight from. Of course, if we look over on towards the players here from the Infinity, we see Ammo just patiently waiting. Kato, keeping a watchful eye on the opposite end there, just trying to do a little bit of a lumber works. Fortunately, you can't really shoot through the trees, but still a good angle to be holding in. Can actually gather quite a bit of information from this position. We can see Hainsley just off in the distance, of course, hiding behind the rocks and the trees. But this now allows the opportunity for the Magicians actually to try and advance their position, to creep a little bit closer to the players here coming in from the Infinity. The pressure is on, but with that, Syntax gets spotted out. Oh, it's going to be close. You've got to be so careful. Ammo just waiting. And this is an interesting angle actually to come in from, because if he just misreads that a little bit, it could actually be exposing his position entirely to the teams in the vicinity.
Yeah, he's got to be super, super careful here. And right now it's a battle. It's the Somalians versus the Mauritians here, Infinity versus the Magicians. So got a little bit of a head-to-head here. We'll see who can come out on top right now. The Magicians, of course, being the team there from Mauritius. And, of course, Infinity coming out of Somalia. You know, we've got some serious representation here in this lobby, as you mentioned. Our only Senegalese team also in this particular grouping. So we've got some teams, they're repping their countries. They're out here to clap some cheeks, and they're out here to do the damage, which is exactly what we want to see. Hopefully we start to see those fights happen. Hopefully we send a couple more teams back to the lobby before we progress, because right now we're sitting in a very similar situation to what we were seeing yesterday. 4 zones deep, with 15 teams and 50 players still. Yeah, sure, they've been fighting, they've been exchanging the shots, but we haven't seen any more wipes.
Yeah, but of course that only shows just how reluctant these teams are to relinquish their position in this match. They are fighting it for control of not only the zone, but they want to get those placement points alongside the kill points that could potentially come from this. Magicians actually doing quite a bit of shooting. Unfortunately, we have not seen any confirms come their way just yet, but now players here from Rain from Hell holding upright alongside them. Up comes the Infinity, as well as the Aphelion Apex. Siko just holding on the edge over towards that eastern side, but up comes Osiris for the Natural Killers. A bit of a spray down as Murky goes flying. Will he get the shot into Nico? Oh, so close. Nico so low. Down he goes. Osiris finds the hit, changes over to the DP. 28 to get the confirm, but now comes under fire as he's looking to move in. The Natural Killers now really having to defend this position, and the pressure is going to be on as Sully is just holding out, bleeding out slowly. Up comes Rashi for the confirm. And with that, of course, the players there from INF losing yet another player. The pressure is definitely on, but now as we move into the next phase, look at that zone sitting even closer as the blue zone just holds, making its way on through. And I'm curious to see where this next shift is going to be taking us. 44 players still alive. It is going to be a pretty highly congested zone to play in.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, with all of these teams still in the mix, still on the board, and just cramming into zone after zone, trying to squeeze their way in, it's exactly the scenario that I keep bringing up time and time again. If you don't make the space early on, then you don't get the chance later on, because when you have to worry about so many teams in the vicinity, you have to worry about your space and your playable area running out super quickly, when you have to worry about setting yourself on fire, you definitely don't want to be pressurized by all of these situations. So, old boy, he's just going to have to heal himself up after testing out to see if he can cook himself to perfection. Luckily for him, he didn't send himself back to the lobby in the process. But there it is. In the meantime, EXO Redefined going away with that mini 14, putting a couple of shots in there. The Magician's still up here with Infinity. And, well, nothing too crazy is happening. No one's deciding to really push anywhere. And that's, of course, because, well, they're still safe in zone. And while I disagree with the choice, they are indeed safe in zone. So they don't really have to go anywhere for now. But like I said, that space is running out. They're going to lose the space to make the plays. Right now, you can see the fights happening down and towards the south there. Seven Sins goes up against the players there from Black Crystal. So everyone's not having a good time here, as they're just really quickly running out of cover.
Yeah, and cover is going to be absolutely essential, of course. The pressure coming on through. Down goes the head, so confirms finding their way in. 13 teams now remain. And now it's up to the players here to try and secure this position down in towards the south as Draken comes in with the spray down Titan right there alongside him. The pressure is on. We got Altia also not too far away, but they got to try and fortify this as the zone is only shifted a little bit further up on towards the north. But right up ahead of them, of course, the team from XO already moving into position, looking to assert a little bit of dominance. But it's going to be a difficult angle to defend, as we can see a few more teams holding on towards the edge of school. The spray down comes through. Will we have any of those hits landing? Meanwhile, the kill feed is going to be lighting up as the teams are setting those sprays in. Sidemen, being the sidemen, holding on the side over in towards school. We can see Matrix and Hater just on the opposite side. But this is going to be such a difficult rotation. Center zone is going to be Rozhar kill. And if the teams are not careful, that is where they'll meet a very abrupt end. But of course, looking at the team positioned right on the top of the hill, that is the players there from the Infinity. Now, if they are able to secure the position, they're so close to it. But it is going to be quite a bit of a fight.
Yeah, it certainly is here. The Magicians still are fighting their way through the hordes that are now coming down and streaming down in to the zone. Black Crystal and XO Redefined going at one another. That's a Mauritius versus Mauritius fight right there. British putting the hits in towards Titan. Matrix also going down as the fight happening here. Infinity still trying to go up against the Magicians here on the edge of the zone. It's not an easy place to be because everyone's trying to move in, but as you can see, that is the case absolutely everywhere. Mercury going for some airtime there, just going to send himself to his grave. Trying to do some Evil Knievel there, but that's just not going to happen. That's not what we're playing. We're not playing Evil Knievel Simulator. We're playing PUBG. And that's what is out here. Bjorn going to hit the deck. A nice slam dunk from the nades. Infinity still holding the complex up against the Magicians here, but everyone is feeling that pressure right now. We're down to 11 teams and 34 players, so we're almost down to our top 10 as Sean is getting taken out there by Drac.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at the zone. It would be quite detrimental for a team to try and hold on to center zone as 7 Arts are laying it down, shooting, and just finding the spray down towards the south. And this is what makes this whole region so tough and so interesting actually to watch, as the players there from XO Redefined find themselves in a very tough position. But the battle for control of this particular ridge is going to be so crucial as we wait to see, of course, where that next zone shift is going to be taking us. The Immortalz over on towards the southern side of it. Right up alongside them, we of course do see the players there from Seven Sins. And also right up in the mix, I believe that could potentially be the players there from Solo. But of course, it is going to be quite a difficult position. Players from XO still trying to rotate back into safety. The zone about to pop. Let's see where it's going to go. Oh, it stays on the southern edge. Now, this is where the chaos is going to start erupting all the way up in towards Rozhok.
Yeah, it certainly is, and right now the fight happening over this hill is just absolutely pressurized. You can see that zone having shifted down means that all of these teams are going to have to fight for their life with very minimal cover. They're going to be using the hill, and that is it. 7AOK still trying to put those long-range shots over towards XO Redefined, who are caught out in a difficult spot on the other side of that zone, and if they try and push forward, they're just going to expose themselves a little bit too much, and they can't do that. They're in a very, very tough spot. 7AOK are ready to collect, ready to capitalize and punish on that positioning there. Of course, Immortalz in the meantime getting hit in that kill feed. As you can see, Ika on the one side. We've got Solo on this side of the mountain, fighting it up against all the teams on the other side of the mountain. But they still have to push over. So we've got the Immortalz, we've got 7AOK, and they're just taking the third parties. ATROX moving in from the top of that mountain. So everyone is just trying to get their little piece of the proverbial pie that is, of course, this tiny little sliver of Crescent Mountain they've got here. Nova, in the meantime, going to get first. 7AOK also feeling the pressure from the Immortalz as the rotation coming through from Exos. They try desperately to get inside the zone, but it is just not working. There are too many players. The Sidemen rolling up as well to try and get into the mix, and that kill feed is absolutely lighting up as these teams go at one another's throats for this space. There goes Ammo putting the shots in, but instantly clapped back. The natural killers are very quick on that trigger. You know it. Infinity getting taken down by the natural killers immediately. ATROX, of course, clouding themselves with a little bit of smoke, and everyone is just scrambling to try and survive. 6 teams and 16 players.
This is an absolutely golden position coming in here for the Immortalz. Playing the ball, they have access to the ridge line just in front of them. But of course, they've also got pretty good access to those more southern positions. And the pressure is going to be on now. I don't think Umar is going to fare too well once the side of Solo starts pushing over that crest, that ridge line. You can see the players from ATROX also starting to rotate up from the side. Oh, there we go. The first one goes down. Umar trying to hold on, trying to bring in those placement points. But this is where XO find themselves also in quite a difficult position. Very exposed region to be in. And with that, I am high. Sends Umar high into the sky. Right back into that lobby. The zone getting ready to pop up once again. Solo down to only 2. It is Bjorn and Samurai holding on to the ridge. Could be quite a strong position depending on where the zone goes. We're going to find out in the next few seconds. And the zone rather decides to move all the way back up towards the north. Now, this is where XO need to find that rotational path back into zone. They need to utilize whatever they have to disguise their rotation, and it's going to be pretty tough, but they could actually swoop in right behind the side of ATROX.
Yeah, it certainly could. Oh, explosion onto Samurai, gonna send him packing right on back. We've got 4 teams now remaining. ATROX with the numbers, XO with the numbers, but all the positions favorable right now. ATROX is in the best conceivable position in terms of that safe area. So really, XO are going to have to make that push as quickly as possible. And I mean, I'm not going to call it now, not to make a caster's curse on it or anything, but ATROX looking to be in a pretty good position right now. Everyone else has to really put the work in. XO trying to make the dash, but Pika quick on the trigger and feeling the damage, no problem. Just sending it out, and XO is receiving every single bit of it. Godless and, of course, British now having to go on a bit of a split. British going all the way around to try and get a flanking angle here, but is it going to be too little too late? Up goes the Molotov to try and flush out the rest of the players from ATROX there. Dead, and I am high getting taken away. British trying to put the shots in. Dead does go down. This could be the assault that they need to do here on towards ATROX, but they're still alive. ATROX have been managing to keep themselves alive all this time. 3 of their players still alive, with Dead quickly being rezzed back up to full HP. We still have 4 teams here. Bjorn with the top of the mountain, got a nice angle, could potentially throw a bit of a spanner in the works. Kavera, of course, from 7AOK, they're popping that smoke, just trying to get the quick upgrade from the drop. Might be able to get some angles on towards ATROX as well. Godless now trying to crawl up on the one side as XO have been beaten back after their attempted assault on towards ATROX. And right now, ATROX still in the strongest position. It's a 3v1v1v1.
Yep, and it is quite interesting to see the change up coming in from the teams. Of course, EXO Redefined finished, although they got sent out in 14th last time. Both these groups played against each other, but it is nothing new for Solo and 7 Arts of Killing to find themselves coming into this late circle. Of course, quite an improvement also coming in from the side of ATROX, as they got sent back in 7th place the last time these groups met. But now the pressure is on. Oh, with that Pika gets spotted as Godless comes through with the spray. Bjorn sees him as well, comes in, and down he goes. Bjorn sealing that life away from Godless. Now is the opportunity for the players here from ATROX to try and sneak up the side. The only 2 teams remaining is going to be Solo as well as ATROX. It is Bjorn trying to make the stand, trying to make the player holding onto the ridge line, but he's got to be so careful as to not to overexpose himself. Up comes Dead, looking to push in. Bjorn, sensing that something's cooking, looking to reposition himself. He needs to get down to the south because that is where the zone had shifted to. So the pressure is going to be on. Will we see the Senegali team finish up once again, bringing through the dub? Last time they finished in 2nd place, but they got the dub as they got quite an impressive amount of kills getting done. Ooh, the molly's getting sent through. Pika gets spotted, but down he goes. The finishing blow comes in, and ATROX just steals away the winner chicken dinner, putting Solo back into 2nd place once again.
Yeah, what a fight it was. Of course, we could not expect anything more there out of Solo, despite the fact that, you know, if they had more players, maybe they could have done something, but in a 1v3, not the easiest position to be in. So really well played for them getting up into that 2nd place, putting a good number of kills into their pocket as well. EXO, of course, in position number 3. But certainly an unexpected performance to see a team like Aatrox, for instance, getting that chicken dinner and also getting a considerable number of kills in their pocket as well. Because right now, Aatrox is a team that's struggling on the overall leaderboard. So, I mean, I guess this is a story of maybe anyone can put points on the board and get themselves out of a tough spot.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of those situations where when we say that some people are here to shake the table and move things around, they are definitely shaking the table. Aatrox surprising us with a winner chicken dinner and getting the points on the board. What I'm super excited about is to see where the other teams line up and all the points that were shared from all the kills and all the positional play. This was just an exciting match to watch. I like the fact that it started with so much action right from the get. I mean, DK, talk us through sort of a rough overview of what this match was like.
Well, of course, as we've seen a few times now, we had a few teams actually coming in with a little bit of hard drop action. We had a few interesting engagements, as well as we had the players there, of course, getting trapped in the underground passage. Lovely Toxic getting caught up. And man, yeah, it started off quite aggressively, went into a little bit more of a rotational positional kind of play. And as we made our way into those final few phases, that is where the aggression really came out. And I was quite surprised to see actually the players from 7 Arts of Killing as well as Solo making it all the way up into those final zones once again. Because the last time, as I pointed out, these groups have played against each other, that's when they both had absolutely beautiful victories. But I gotta say, I'm so impressed with the improvement coming in from ATROX. They just stepped it up, bouncing back. Yes, they finished in 7th place last time, and now they jumped all the way up into pole position. Beautiful jump.
Yeah, and that is exactly what we like to see. We like to see other teams giving the people on the leaderboard a run for their money. Now, Pachi, which team disappointed you the most in this particular round?
Oh, man, I have a whole list of teams that have just disappointed me in that game. The team that's disappointed me the most, you know, that's a tough one. I mean, I was expecting to see more from a lot of teams. I mean, we were talking G3, we were throwing around names like, you know, Zero Tolerance, it was Rage and all that kind of stuff. We're looking for all this, that, and the next thing. And, you know, then to get into a game like this where we have all of those teams like Influence Rage, teams like Zero Tolerance, teams like G3, and then Atrox is the one that takes the chicken dinner. Not to take it away from Atrox. I mean, really good for them. It's really nice to see the South African team get that chicken dinner and move themselves up out of a tough spot, because they were sitting towards down at the bottom of the leaderboard. Now they've moved themselves a little bit up, which is great. But, you know, the rest of the teams, you got to come in, you got to get some points here. And of course, it's still the first round, so obviously these teams don't need to hammer it super hard. G3, they're already sitting at the top of the log right now, towards the top at least. It's not super important that they put points on the board every single time, but, keep it competitive, guys. Keep the pressure on. You don't want them to snake up from the bottom and creep up to positions where they probably shouldn't be.
That was an amazing game by ATROX. I mean, look at the leaderboard right now. They got 15 placement points and 9 kill points for a total of 20. Patchy, talk us through this leaderboard.
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, ATROX, of course, taking that chicken dinner, putting a good number of kills into the pocket, and picking up 24 total points there for that first spot, looking nice and good, and doing well to move themselves up the overall standings as well, which is basically the entire point of these games. Solo Esports, of course, picking up that second place. EXO Redefined also, this is one team that definitely needed the points, picking up 16 for themselves. I'm not too sure where they sit on the overall standings now. Of course, we'll eventually get to see those at the end, but definitely that's a team that needs to put a whole lot more points on the board to get themselves out of the hot seats. And of course, we have a couple of weeks to make that happen. But once that's done, it is done. Seven Sense AOK, of course, also they're sitting towards the top, so they're one of the teams that don't really need to do all that much, and the likes of Zero Tolerance and Influence Rage also fit that bill. It's not like they have to do very much, but it's still important to put points on the board. It's still important to keep yourself consistent so that you don't drop out of the spot, because one aspect of the whole game is, yes, you want to be at the top of the log, you want to get yourself out of relegation, make sure you're good to go, but the second portion of the whole component, the whole dynamic that's going on, is you actually want to stop teams from you want to stop them from actually getting out of relegation. If you're a team like, for instance, G3, if you're a team like Zero Tolerance, if you're a team like Influence Rage, you are sitting at the top. You don't want some of the teams down in the bottom on page number 4. You don't want them to get out of there. You want to keep them there, or at least you want to maybe try and put other teams there by keeping them down, making sure that you play your best, and they don't really they don't do well against you, right? That's what has to happen here. So that's what these teams need to be focusing on just a little bit in terms of their gameplay. But of course, moving on to the MVP, it's coming out of ATROX. It has to be. It's I Am High with 5 kills, 481 damage done there with 27 minutes of survival time. And yeah, once again, just well done to ATROX for getting that chicken dinner in map number 1.
Well, that was definitely some amazing gameplay. We are going to be looking at some more action coming, 2 more maps, which of course we know is Sanhok and Miramar. There's more action coming in the Umzansi Esports League. This is season 4, brought to you by Northern Gaming Africa. And just before we go on a break, I want to quickly remind everyone that if you haven't done so already, go follow us on all our socials and make sure you go check out northerngaming.africa. It is the place, the one-stop shop for all things esports. Go check them out, and we will see you right after this break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Umzansi Esports League Season 4 brought to you by Nordwin Gaming. We are enjoying the action from the PUBG Mobile segment. My name is Dr. Sib, and I'm here with two amazing gentlemen, DK and Pachi, and they have been giving you the blow by blow action and all the stats and all the action that is coming from the PUBG Mobile tournament. We have just seen ATROX take the map, the winner chicken dinner on Sanhok, and we're looking forward to what's going to be happening on our next map, which is Erangel, and we're looking forward to our next map, which is Sanhok. As we can see, there are a lot of teams representing different African countries. Big shout out to Solo Esports from Senegal, if I'm not mistaken. Someone please help me with my flags. What flag is that?
Yep.
Yep,
You
Senegal.
are on the money.
Yes, from Senegal. Because I like to see the fact that there's a lot of representation across the African continent. Shout out to the Infinity from Somalia, Sidemen, Natural Killers, and Immortalz from South Africa. Seven Sins Art of Killing. That is a mouthful. From Angola, and of course, EXO Redefined from Madagascar. Now, this just shows that on the African continent we have a lot of teams and we have a lot of players out there that are willing to compete in the best of the against the best of the best when it comes to esports and gaming. Now we're looking at the second page of the leaderboard, and definitely some teams have disappointed and need to push up. Apache, which teams on this page you think need to do well on this particular map to keep up their standings on the overall leaderboard?
Well, I mean, I would like to see teams like, as we mentioned before the break, I want to see teams like G3, Zero Tolerance, and Influence Rage do well, but they don't have to. It's not a necessity. They're basically safe for now. On the first page, you're not really going to be dethroned necessarily. I mean, you could basically do nothing and probably make it through still. So it's not too much of an issue, but for some of the other teams, there is a bit of a pressure to try and get up off of the last page. We saw that with EXO Redefined. They got some decent points in match number one. So actually, kudos to them for that. They are at least making it happen. So they have a little bit of a ways to go, but they're making it happen. On this page, particularly though, I'm expecting to see a couple teams maybe do just a little bit better. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it's kind of tough to say. I think the Natural Killers have been a little bit of a question mark for me lately. I want to see them do better. They used to be really, really good. They kind of stand in contention. I want to see more from them, basically, is what I'm saying there. So hopefully maybe they can bring us something here in map number 2.
All right. So map number 2 is loading up. This is Sanhok, and of course, DK, we know it is my personal favorite. Close quarter combat. Everybody's in your face, ready to collect all the chicken parts to make sure that their chicken dinner is fatter than your own. You understand? So at this point in time, looking at the first map, and I know the first map is sort of similar to what's happened when these two teams have faced each other before. Do you think we're going to be having another repeat of the last time they met on this particular map, or do you think somebody's going to shake the table and collect all the chicken parts?
Well, last time they met, of course, we saw the players from Aphelion Apex coming out with a winner chicken dinner with Zero Tolerance and INF taking second and third place. But I am sincerely putting my money on Senegal, on Solo Esports. Like, they're the only team sitting up in the top there, not having a chicken dinner on board. So I'm hoping that this is the match in which they could potentially step up and grab some chickens.
Yes, because those chicken parts are very, very necessary. Because when you think about it, if you have a wing, a leg, a thigh, and like some nice breast, you just combine it together, that's one whole chicken. You understand? And with that one whole chicken, and you can get one whole chicken for each of the team members, that chicken dinner is going to be very, very nice because people are not sharing the chicken, but you're also having all the chickens for yourself. So I'm thinking that players right now, if you're watching me, if you can hear me right now, you need to be trying to get enough chicken parts for yourself so that the team in general can have a feast of a chicken dinner. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the map of Sanhok is a tight place. It's like what we call in Nigeria, face me, I face you. Face me, I face you is one of those houses where your door is right across from your neighbor's door, and it's really, really small. You guys share the same bathroom. You know what I'm saying? So in this place, you either dominate or you get dominated. Now we're about to go into the map, and I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, these two gentlemen are going to be telling you all the action that is going to be happening, and one by one they'll be telling you who's collecting whose chicken parts, because ATROX might be collecting chicken part from G3 Temper, and just know that means that G3 Temper's chicken winner dinner is going to be short one chicken part. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, before I keep talking about chicken and get too hungry, I'll leave you the very capable hands of DK and Pachi as they talk you through all the action. See you after the map.
Oh no, I feel like I'm already hungry. I think it's too late now. I'm already hungry.
Well, not to try and kind of push Sid to continue talking about chicken. I had a nice chicken dinner today.
Nice.
But it does feel like we're standing in queue at KFC or something with Sid talking about all the chickens. But yeah, now it is time to see who's going to be grabbing the chicken in this match, of course, as we look to see where the teams are going to be dropping into. Last time they met, we had that zone positioned up into the north. This time, it shifts all the way over towards the western edge. So I'm curious to see what exactly is going to come from this. And actually, we see the players there from the Infinity actually changing their drop location. Last time, we saw them push all the way up into ruins. This time, they're going for a bit of a more eastern approach, all the way in towards Kampong. But it's going to be interesting to see what this match will bring in. Also, INF. Wow, last time they went to Kao, Kai, and now they're pushing straight up into Hatin alongside the players there from the Magicians. So again, we do see a few hot drops coming in.
Yeah, I mean, that's great to see. Hatin looking super huge here. Of course, you can see Infinity up with the Magicians in this particular position. Well, hopefully they get going. You can see Infinity is retreating just a little bit. Kato being left alone all the way up there with the rest of Paradox and Syntax. You can see Ammo trying to get some hits in towards this one remaining player just in the corner here. He is fighting for life, doing a little bit of damage, but ultimately going to get caught out, and Ash is sent back over into that lobby. So the Magicians already facing a little bit of trouble. Infinity have caught out one of their players. They've been taken down to 3 now on the other side of this compound. Magicians might just want to retreat because they have lost that numbers advantage. Although if they're feeling it, maybe they can go for the kill. Who knows? Right now, everyone seems to be really ready for those kills.
Yeah, but it's quite interesting to see the players here from the Infinity actually starting with quite a bit of early game aggression, just pushing straight into the Magicians, catching them completely off guard. And so far, it has actually paid off a little bit for them, finding that one confirm. Meanwhile, actually forcing the team of the Magicians to rotate a little bit further south, pushing themselves into the side there of ATROX. As you can see, Syntax now coming in with the hits right onto I Am High. But the pressure is going to be on the side of Magicians. Will they be able to find the finishing blows? We see Soho holding up right in front of them. Meanwhile, Dead and Pika quite spread out. But I got to say, I like the positions coming in from that northeastern side. So many teams in pretty close proximity with G3 holding up in towards Paradise. That could be a very strong position to hold for G3, as it is kind of that transitional region back into zone.
Yeah, and I mean, if they hold that well, they could be picking up quite a few kills, which will do well to redeem them from this previous game's performance, which was a little bit lackluster. Although, going back to the fact, sure, maybe they don't need to put on the points on the board and get so many chickens now because they've got plenty of them already. But, it would be nice to see them stepping it up and just doing what we know they do. In the meantime, of course, we'll just be keeping an eye on that, seeing what happens, because they are in a favorable position to make it happen. The rest of the teams, of course, getting their way along. You can see a lot of them across to that east coast. We've got XO Redefined as well as the Sidemen there on that particular location. Down in the south, we have Aphelion, Apex, and the Immortalz. So everyone's nicely spread out in that regard. So we sort of have both ends of the coin right now. We've got, all the hot drops, and we've got all the teams that are just chilling by themselves, no problem. Now, I guess we wait for that zone to do what it does best and force all these players in, and hopefully the fights start to happen off the back of that. But at least the pacing of this game did pick up a little quicker. I just hope that it continues in that way. Because if things slow down super slow, and then we see all 16, 15 teams, 4 zones deep, I'm going to be sad again.
Yeah, we don't want a sad patchy, because then he starts reducing the patchy points. And, I mean, everyone wants as many patchy points as they can find. Or muster. But now the pressure is going to be on, looking to center zone, especially for the players there from Natural Killers. They are positioned within that trifecta. You do see the players there from Zero Tolerance moving up right behind them. But I'm curious to see where the teams on this eastern front are going to look to rotate in, as we've got the players there from INF still holding up in towards Cal. Toxic now starting to move in. Fortunately for Toxic, there's not really many tunnels on this map, so they should be safe for the time being. But they still need to try and find a good, decent position to rotate up into. Meanwhile, Seven Sins is going for a little bit of a chill in the water, just having a bit of a push closer towards that trifecta. And now the pressure is going to be on as the players from Natural Killers. I hope they've got these angles covered.
Yeah, I hope so too, because otherwise it's going to be a little bit of an issue. We'll see if it does turn out to be that way for the time being. We've got Zero Tolerance moving up closer and closer in towards the Natural Killers, who are chilling right there in the center of the three islands there, that nice little three-island area. But ATROX moving over to the western bridge, maybe potentially going to start watching that location, which could be good for any rotates, depending on where the zone goes next. Now we just wait in anticipation as that blue zone takes its sweet time on coming on in. We'll have a look and see where it goes next. For the time being, we've got 7AOK up with G3 there towards the central three-island area. Maybe we'll see them go and add it. We'll see some fights happen in that direction. Also want to see a little bit more out of 7AOK. They're also one of the teams that can definitely bring a lot more to the board than game number one.
Yeah, they definitely can. And now Caveira just peeking out the window, trying to see if they can pick up G3 while they're rotating up. But G3, they just hugging the edge of that little cliffside there. Buden, of course, down in the drink. Down goes Tomac as well. Gunner holding up top. But it's going to be interesting play because the zone has shifted over towards that eastern side, especially when it starts moving into the whole trifecta kind of region. That is where it gets a little bit crazy. You know, Magicians, they're not too far of that whole trifecta kind of setup. Natural Killers still holding strong, so not getting challenged too much just yet. Meanwhile, we will see Hainsley getting blown up. Not quite sure why or how, but hey, it is what it is. And over towards Bun, we do see the players there from Black Crystal as well as Rain from Hell making their way on through. Not a lot of aggression on this map at the time being just yet. But as the teams get closer and closer together, we'll of course see quite a bit of that coming through. We also have the players there from the Immortalz, as well as the team coming in from, I believe that is the Sidemen, now looking to rotate closer towards Painan rather. And I think once the zone pops, we'll have one particular team in a strong spot. Not quite sure where it's going to be going, but if it moves towards northwest, definitely the team there from the Infinity will have themselves beautifully set up. They just need to play those regions. Meanwhile, Toxic, they're looking a little bit better. They got 3 players up, but now they look to push in, finding the first hit on towards Hainsley. Down he goes. And now they can look to apply a little bit more pressure.
Yep, they certainly can. Infinity right here to greet them as well, trying to find the rest of those toxic players who are moving around, and they are spread out just a little bit, so they won't be able to come to one another's rescue. In the meantime, G3 taking a fight against the Magicians there in that kill feed as well. So we are seeing those fights breaking out bit by bit. It's really, really good to see the action happening a lot quicker as we expect on this map. But you know, one of the things about it is oftentimes we see players try to stretch things out on this map as long as possible, and it doesn't go too well. Because, I mean, if you thought this map was chaos to begin with, then it is just absolute chaos when you have 15 teams and you're 4 or 5 zones deep already. It's not a fun time. It is just chaos. It's third parties. It's grenades all over the show. And now Reki getting taken out by Nico. Some nice shots coming through there. Very accurate, just pinning him down and setting him right into the ground. Fortunately, Reki is not really going to be able to get rezzed up by his team. I think he's very much isolated at this point, so Nico should be able to just get a quick first, and indeed he will. Reki makes a crawl for it and regrets his decision almost immediately.
It's going to be a tough one. I mean, this ridgeline, yes, you can gather quite a bit of information, but there is also that opportunity for another team to come swooping in from that western edge. And Bones, he's not willing to move just yet. He's just holding on and waiting to see what the zone is going to be bringing. We have a little bit of congestion over on towards that eastern side, and we see the players from Solo actually rotating up towards that northeastern edge, looking to come in right behind the players there from INF, as well as Toxic. So you can see Samurai slowly on the approach. The first few shots are getting exchanged over towards Quarry as XO British comes through with a beautiful spray down on towards Rain from Hell. Old Boy quickly rotating a little bit further down, but needs to be careful. Black Crystals coming up the side. Could actually catch them with a bit of a side rotation. Titan just up ahead, but Argus has got eyes on them, so they won't be able to really pull off that sneak attack just yet. As we can see, Zaya also down for the count. But this could be quite a favorable play actually coming in from the side here of EXO Redefined if they continue to move forward and apply the pressure. But it seems like they may be looking to disengage and position themselves further up in towards the zone.
Oh man, I was really hoping EXO was going to go for it. Like you mentioned, they really looked into to be in a pretty good position. I was hoping they'd maybe pick up a few kills here because they certainly do need it. The Mauritians, as I mentioned, have been struggling just a little bit, but in game number 1, they did manage to get quite a number of points in the pocket, which has boosted them up the leaderboard just a little bit. But it is now just going to be a Rain from Hell up here against the Black Crystals, who are going at it. It looks like they're a little bit pinned down, actually. DeJoel is right here looking to see if he can spot out any open gap to maybe try and make a dash for it, because of course they will eventually have to make that happen. But Rain from Hell, they've made the rotate in. All their players are here. Now they can just push on up. DeJoel and Titan, not much they can do. If they try and escape, they will get shot. And in fact, DeJoel is just for peeking. He gets punished immediately. Gets taken down, and now that's the go signal for Rain from Hell to just continue to wipe him out. Titan tries to stand up and get some damage done, but instead half his health bar gets taken away, and well, that should be it, done and dusted. Argus gonna put those final nails in that coffin there, pick up nice squad wipe for themselves.
I gotta say that was quite the interesting play coming in from Neon. That off-angle play working out quite phenomenally for them. But as we can see, the action lighting up as the team there from the Infinity and INF actually fight it out with that. INF seems to be sent back into the lobby. I'm not quite sure. We'll need to get confirmation on that, but it does look like the Infinity was actually able to cause quite a bit of damage on towards them. Meanwhile, players there from Toxic still making their way up towards zone. Same, of course, for the side of Rain from Hell, as they just came out of this fight. But they have a fairly clean rotational path all the way in towards that zone. Up ahead, Zero Tolerance, going to be keeping their position strong up on the high ground. Natural Killers not going to be budging just yet. That is where they dropped, and that is where they've stayed. They've had no reason, really, to venture out and start exploring. I think they're waiting to see where the third, potentially fourth phase could go, and if they can then from there rotate into a bit of a stronger position.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see at the moment. The Natural Killers keeping a weather eye out for a potential Zero Tolerance a push on up to their position, just up in the forest up ahead. For the time being, they're just waiting and seeing if anything's going to happen. Aphelion Apex under a little bit of pressure here. Seven Sins is that's a bit of a botched nade. That's not too good. Is not going to be able to send that where he was looking to send it. So definitely want to maybe practice your throwing arm just a little bit. Otherwise, yeah, they're just waiting, seeing if Zero Tolerance is going to be pushing up. 7 AOK is going to make something happen. We'll wait and we will see. The southern portion of the map looking a little bit more crowded than the rest of it. It'll be interesting to see where the zone decides to go after this, because of course it is closing up as it does. Rain from Hell just need to get across that line. Otherwise, everyone nice and comfy inside the zone. Keep an eye on G3 there, who are in between Infinity and the Magicians. And of course, Natural Killers, who are still in the middle of that trifecta area. We've got Zero Tolerance there in the mix between Natural Killers and Aphelion Apex. So I'm expecting some fights to break out pretty soon. XO, just above Painan there. I'm really hoping that they pull something off here. I'm really hoping that they can find some kills, find some ground here.
Ooh. Well, there we go. The zone shifting over on towards that northwestern island. And now the pressure is on. The players from ATROX positioning themselves pretty close to that bridge over on the western side. But up comes EXO, starting with the engagement on towards the players from Natural Killers down below. But Natural Killers finding themselves in a strong position once again. Again, no need really for them to rotate up. It is going to be a very foolish decision to make, I think, if they decide to rotate now, seeing that we've got such a big concentration of teams in the vicinity. We've got the Immortalz, we've got Zero Tolerance, we've got XO, we've got the players from Seven Sins. Everyone's going to be looking to funnel up into this zone, and this could actually be quite a stronghold for them. Meanwhile, they do have the Magicians on the opposite end, but we also see ATROX now having a bit of company rotating up their way. So I'm expecting to see a little bit of chaos erupting as the teams start making their way on through. Also, Solo coming in with a bit of a sneak approach up on towards the north, right in behind the players from the Infinity. But it seems like they have been spotted, waiting for those angles, waiting for those openings to strike. And this is actually a pretty strong position coming in from the Infinity here.
Yeah, they have a nice angle. They've got some good elevation there to give them some pressure over towards Solo, who's now trying to get past that particular direction. Of course, Aphelion Apex up here, trying to stay out of sight of ATROX, which is up ahead of them in that compound there, to do not want to go knocking on any unnecessary doors. In the meantime, Sevenson's going up against the Sidemen. Seeing some battles happening there, and Hunter getting dunked on by that nade from Mortal. Definitely not the way you want to go. Nova getting taken out by Sahil. Roshi immediately taking Sahil out in the meantime. And here is that battle at 7AOK up against the Sidemen. And the Sidemen are feeling a little bit of pressure here. The shots are coming in. The damage is done. HP bars are absolutely disappearing. Seven Sins finding some good damage and getting that quick wipe.
Yeah, really strong play coming in here from Zero Tolerance as they now continue to move in. One squad wiped down. Rain from Hell up ahead. The Immortalz also just hanging around in the vicinity, but they need to be so careful with this fight. This whole trifecta region could just line up. And as you can see, of course, we still have 4 teams holding in the vicinity, but the pressure is on. Rain from Hell now looking to just make their way back into zone. Skydo putting up a bit of a defensive play. Doesn't want to let them slide on through just yet, but this looks to be a pretty strong play coming in as Skydo, Vibes, Vortex, and Mortal are just spreading themselves out on the edge of the zone. Of course, a beautiful position. They can really leverage this. Now Vibes and Mortal coming in with the off angle there. So Vortex and Skydo on the opposite end. A good 2-2 split coming in from them. Just utilizing the fork in the road. But will that fork bring them the chicken dinner? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But the pressure is on as EXO start rotating up, looking to squeeze on through. But we could maybe see EXO and the Immortalz bumping heads.
You might just see that. Rain from Hell trying to push up here towards Zero Tolerance. That split, putting a bit of pressure on Vibes, trying to get the flank coming through on towards August. Rain from Hell not getting washed over by that blue zone. The shots coming through from XO in towards the Immortalz there. That's too much damage done. Dope, despite being in that blue zone, he's fine. He's putting the absolute shots into the backs of every single player. Just getting wiped out one by one. Vibes and August still getting caught out in that blue as they fight. The rest of the team there from Zero Tolerance and Rain from Hell fighting on the other side, trying to make something happen. So they need to get out of there very, very soon. Otherwise, they're going to have a very difficult situation ahead of them. XO getting a little bit of damage done in towards them. Rain from Hell still taking the damage. Zero Tolerance fighting across the road from them. Just got a couple of boulders as protection here. But some of those players are still floating around in the blue. Vibes is one of them, and he's coming around with that potential flank. He's not afraid to fight from this blue. He's not afraid to take the risk. Now it could potentially pay off depending on how he decides to make this play. He's taking the car for the rotate potentially to get away. Actually, no, he went straight up for the push. He's going to get punished immediately. Instantly taken down. Absolutely no chance for Vibes to get anything done there. Just going to get punished there by Rain from Hell. And now the rest of Zero Tolerance needs to try and recuperate as they fight back and forth across this road. And no one's really getting anywhere. They've got to get those rotates.
Yeah, I mean, this blue zone is going to be absolutely relentless and devastating on these teams. So they need to move up. We've seen Natural Killers and the Magicians holding on that southern edge of the zone. But this is where Seven Sins, the players from XO and Zero Tolerance, need to get ahead of the blue. Of course, Natural Killers can just sit back and capitalize on the carnage. Will we see Juicy and Silla bring in the sprays? Oh, Juicy really trying to get the job done. Meanwhile, we see Silla, of course, trying to get that res in on his teammate. Will they be able to pull it off? Not quite sure, but Silla is coming under fire as the team start moving in. The Magicians, Paradox, and Legacy holding up just in front of them. Oh, but they need to be careful. We've got the players here from Seven Sins now moving in right behind them. Zero Tolerance moving up ahead. This is going to be an absolutely crazy fight for control of the south, but Legacy finds the spray down right on towards Caveira. Down he goes. Will Legacy be able to clutch this one out? Sevenson's looking to push in, but this is such a difficult area to be playing in. Legacy gets spotted. The spray down comes through. Looking to hold on. Toxic with a beautiful off-angle position there. Could actually third-party the heck out of that. Paradox moving his way up. Getting down and dirty. Legacy hiding his head in a rock. You know, Austria's usually going to holds, but Legacy sticks his head in a rock patchy. That is next level. But now, up comes the Natural Killers looking to defend the high ground down in the south.
Yeah, it's a fight up the side of the hill. The Natural Killers all the way up there. We've got the Magicians and Zero Tolerance, and now we've also got 7AOK crawling up the side of the mountain. And, well, hopefully they find something. Some damage is being done in towards Mortal. He goes down Juicy, also feeling the pain in the Natural Killers. Not very long for this world. Mortal getting taken out there as well, I think, and not too long for this. I think we've reduced down to 10 teams as the nades are rolling down the hill. Paradox tossing some mollies as well. Everyone just sending the grenades down in towards the team there from 7AOK. Not in a very nice position for them. They're going to have to try and survive, especially now that the zone has shifted slightly towards the side. They're going to have to make a dash for it with the Magicians right up there, taking so much damage. They just get eliminated. No more chances for them. We are just dropping teams left, right, and center right now. Nobody is safe except for perhaps G3, who've got a good compound inside that zone right now. Other than that, everyone is just scrambling for their lives.
Well, yeah, G3 have a good position, but it's very low. I see the players there from Aphelion and Apex on their high ground, and the Infinity also now moving in from the north. The fight breaking out between Aphelion, Apex, and ATROX for control of the north. We see the spray down coming through in the top there as Solo go head-to-head, of course, as well. Heads coming through. G3 now. If the zone shifts up towards that western side, they're going to find a very difficult rotation to get all the way back up into the zone. But with that, of course, the players from Solo get eliminated. ATROX finding a few hits. Feed an Apex. That kill feed is just lighting up on fire. We sit with 7 remaining teams. Toxic, Unknown holding on still. Just trying to inch his way forward. And now comes the big moment we are waiting for to see where exactly this next phase will be taking us. Meanwhile, Kage is going to be looking to move in to find those finishing blows into the team of ATROX. Dead. Will he get dead or will he make it up in one piece? So low on health. Pretty sure the fight is going to end pretty soon. Kage spots the angle. There we go. Sneaks in, and with that, puts the dead in dead, and off he goes right back into the lobby. 5 teams left to fight it out for that winner-winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, we have been reduced down to 12 players to fight it out, but G3 still control of this compound here. Unknown on the other side of it, as you can see just above them, trying to stay alive for the team there from Toxic. You can also see 7AOK keeping themselves alive as well. Infinity also, they've got a little piece of this pie, but they have to contend with G3, and of course, with that zone having shifted in favor of G3, they're going to have to go past. They're going to have to crawl forward and hope that G3 is distracted long enough that they can get past. Light getting taken out there by 6God. The play zone, of course, doing what it does best and eliminating those players. You can see Kage here from Aphelion Apex trying to juice himself back up to full HP just in the nick of time. Will be able to do it, but now he's fighting a losing battle. His teammate is going to get eliminated. Now he has to juice and try and run through into the safe area. And I'm not sure if he is in the correct position to make it happen. G3, they've got their crosshairs trained in here towards Infinity as they start to come on through. And of course, with 3 teams remaining, it could be anyone's game right now, but G3 is still in the strongest position in the zone right now. You've got Infinity playing on the one side, but up comes the Blue, making things more difficult. They have to push up. Tumac and 6God gonna have to receive this push. Up comes Ammo, doing the damage. Tumac still trying to receive, but he does the damage. They're not getting taken down just yet. 6God now clutched into the corner as Infinity continue their assault. Kato still alive. 6God does get that first, though. This is a tough play for G3, but they're still in this one. They're still alive, and Infinity has been taken down. The assault was not successful, but G3 now have to get themselves back up. Kage, who has managed to somehow stay alive from healing all of this time, I don't think he has a chance to actually get into the zone, so I think this is done and dust.
Yeah, Kage messed up. He waited too long to apply that final medkit right there. But hey, second place is better than going out in 4th. And of course, G3 come in with the winner chicken dinner, bringing in 7 parts, as Sid would say, 7 chicken parts there, putting together a nice chunky chicken. And the players there from Aphelion Apex coming into second, finishing pretty strong on 10 kills. So good to see the double digits returning once again over on towards Sanhok. That is what we want to see. We want to see the aggression. We want to see those insane kill counts coming through, and the team's definitely delivering on that. And I mean, this was a pretty tough rotation coming in for the side of Infinity, looking to move in behind the players there from G3, but the gods just worked out, or the PUBG gods just were so in favor of G3 as they had that compound. The zone shifted up, and they were able to just sit there and dominate.
Yes, and it's nice to see Aphelion Apex up there as well. You know what I'm saying? That was 10 kills. It's super exciting. And there's something special about a rat who rats well. You rat in the right place, you collect 3 chicken parts, ratting well, and you get the positional points. Now I can't wait to see the standings after this particular match and how they affect the overall leaderboard, which we'll be seeing later on at the end of the map. But that was an exciting game to see. Different dynamic. Obviously, G3 listening to Patchy and saying, "Yo, we have to go hard in this particular match. Otherwise, we're going to just keep falling down the leaderboard, and Patchy's not going to be happy with us. And we definitely need our chicken. There's a lot of protein in chicken. You need protein in your system." So they came hard with it. DK, surprising team in this match. Who surprised you the most in a good way?
Ooh, I gotta say Apex. They read the zone very nicely. I mean, yes, Kage went from 5 meds, just adding on 7 more right there on the end. But unfortunately, time was a little bit out getting into that heal strat, but still a really strong performance coming in from the side of Aphelion Apex.
No, so Patrick, let me ask a question. Would you like if it was possible to heal up and move at the same time?
That's actually a really interesting question. It might change the game a little bit much in terms of the audacity of teams to actually go out into the blue, because I think it would encourage the blue zone strat, and I'm not a particular fan of the blue zone strat, so I don't think that change should come through or anything like that should be looked at. But interestingly enough, there is actually something like that in I believe it is Apex Legends. If you go and look at that tournament there, the Nodwin tournament, that's quite interesting. If you haven't checked that out, you can go check that out. But in that one, I think you have a shield that protects you as you walk in for a limited amount of time inside the quote unquote blue zone. So yeah, something like that, I guess, has been done in games before, but it's definitely not something that I would like in this particular game. Shields and trying to play around in that particular spot. Not the greatest. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you could still heal and move and do what you need to do, but I don't think that it should become a focus point. It shouldn't become something that changes the game further beyond what we already have now. Because I mean, I think we already have the fact that you can out heal inside the zone and move around is still strong enough as it is. I think.
As it is, yeah. And looking at the standings so far, that was just nice to see Aphelion Apex in second position. And now, obviously, the MVP for this particular match was Light, and he had 5 kills, 463 damage, and a survival time of 21 minutes and 37 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, map 2 done for the day. You already know what it is. It is time for a break, and when we'll be back, we'll be bringing you map number 3, which is Miramar. The snipers are coming out. The scout rifles are coming out. It is going to be amazing. This is Dr. Sid, DK, and Patchy, and we will see you right after this break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is still the Umzansi Esports League Season 4, brought to you by Northern Gaming. My name is Dr. Sid, here with Patchy and DK, and we are bringing you all the action that is the PUBG Mobile tournament. We have just witnessed 2 maps of exhilarating action with ATROX and G3 Temper taking the winner chicken dinners. We have one more map left for the night, which is Miramar, and we are going up there to see who will be the one packing all the chicken parts as they have been doing across the field, across the map in the desert. Maybe this time they will be packing turkey because turkey is more popular in the desert than chicken. I don't know, but let us see which bird they will be finding to create their winner chicken dinners. Now, this is a quick look at the standings of the last map, which was Game 5, Group C versus Group D. Obviously, with GT December obviously taking the winner chicken dinner with 7 kills, and Aphelion Apex getting 12 placement points and 10 kills. Now, that is South Africa, Nigeria. Look at the map. We look at Toxic Esports, which we know needed to put some points on the board to get out of the bottom page. They've also put 8 points on the board in this map. Zero tolerance skills coming through as well. And the winners from the first map in 8th position with 5 points. Now, I'm just excited to see who's coming out of this and who is an Influence Rage. I don't know, but they didn't really impress in the last map. Patchy, what do you think is going there?
I mean, we've seen Influence Rage perform really, really well before. Now, not so much. A little bit of a stop-start game for them. Perhaps they need a little bit of encouragement. Perhaps they're just not on the game today. Who knows? But definitely would be nice to see a resurgence from them at least, just a little bit. I mean, they are okay. They're not in a bad spot on the overall standings necessarily, but it would be nice to see them a little bit higher up from where they're at. I believe they're sitting around in
and DK Solo Esports obviously coming in second, if I'm not mistaken, in the first map. The second map they've not done so well. Do you think they can have a resurgence on Miramax?
Miramax, yes, Miramax definitely. Miramar, it's gonna be a difficult one, especially I think you've been watching too much IMAX, but either way, we're getting ready for this one. Historically speaking, looking back, we know Influence Rage were able to bring in 13 kills and a chicken the last time these groups met, and yeah, hopefully Solo steps up and brings it in, claiming a chicken dinner. They got so close in that first match, as you pointed out. Second match, well, they found 2 points at least. So keeping up with the number, whether it's the finishing position or the total points. So, the 2 is in there. Now we got to put those 2 together and, of course, come out with a lovely chicken for them. So let's see how it goes.
Oh, exactly. I'm super excited to see how it goes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready to pop into the final map of the day, which is Miramar. And, Pashi, let me tell me, which team, I know G3 usually does well on this map. Do you think they're going to be consistent with it, or do you think we're going to have another shocker or surprise or an upset today?
Look, I mean, traditionally speaking, you always go, G3, Miramar, surely it's a done and dusted deal. Nowadays, I don't think so much that to be true. I think we've seen over the last few weeks that basically all of these teams have been able to step up at some time or another. And one of the big things is that has been quite consistent through the season is that we haven't seen the same teams taking the maps again and again and again. That just hasn't been the case. Sure, we've seen some of the shining star teams do really, really well in terms of kills, and then they are able to place, top 3, top 5, and then, put those 2 together and you're good to go. So that they haven't really struggled that much. But when it comes to who takes the chickens, who gets the wins for on a per map basis, that just switches up. I mean, we might just see Influence Rage step in and take a chicken dinner here for all we know. It might just be zero tolerance kills. It could be ATROX again. Who knows? At this point, it really is up in the air. It's very, very difficult to actually pinpoint who is going to take this. I think that some of the teams that I'd like to see haven't been stepping it up so far. So I'd like to see some of those teams step it up. But other than that, it really is up in the air.
Well, it's going to be a kerfuffle in the desert, and let's see if there's going to be a shuffle on the charts. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Sid leaving you in the very capable hands of Patchy and DK, and I will see you after the map.
All right, all right. It is map number 3, the final map for today. Of course, it is Miramar, and we've got a very southern skewed flight path here down to Puerto Preso. And we've already got those teams hitting the deck, going down into the map, getting their drops going. We'll see where that zone goes in no time flat. We'll have a look and see what is going to be the case. Are these teams going to get their fighting going early on, or are they going to slow things down? Because usually we see maps 1 and 2 take quite some time, and then map number 3 actually gets sped up just a little bit quicker. But we did see map number 2 pick up the pace a little bit better in today's games. So I'm hoping that they keep with that pace and they stay on a roll and just keep things going. We see 3 groups of teams dropping. We've got the first group on towards the west. We've got the group towards the east, and then a group moving kind of south. So there it is. And of course, that zone dropping up towards the northeast.
Yep, it's going to be quite interesting to see what the teams are going to be bringing in. Well, struggling with the English here again today, but yeah, we know last time zone went all the way over in towards a little bit of a Los Leones kind of finish. So who knows? Maybe it could still go there. It is still partially within play, but as we look onto the map, we see that northeastern side, of course, being completely exposed, completely open for the taking. The western edge, got a few teams dropping fairly hard. Zero Tolerance, Aphelion Apex, we got Black Crystals, we got Toxic, we got the players from Natural Killers, all hopping down in towards the ever lovely El Pozo. So that is going to be quite a point of contention. Looking up in towards Picado, we see the players there from Infinity as well as Solo. Now this is going to be the proving grounds once again. Picado, usually quite an interesting spot if we see teams dropping right down into the mix. As we know, the Senegalians are going to be going up against the players from the ever lovely Somalia. So a little bit of interesting positional play coming through. So you can see the players from Solo holding on towards the southern edge, that blue bottom. Meanwhile, the players there from the Infinity are going to be moving around towards that northern edge. Ammo, pretty close to the casino. I don't know if it's going to be a bit of a gamble, but it all depends on how they take this first initial engagement.
Yeah, it certainly does. And I mean, right off the bat, the close proximity is going to lend itself to taking those engagements, and Ammo already putting down quite a bit of damage into those players from Solo. He's just going one by one, taking those HPs down point by point. So already Solo find themselves quite low on HP. They're going to have to, they're going to have to play this one kind of safe, because if they try and push up now, I mean, look at this, Samurai 50 HP. It's not a great position to be in. You definitely don't want to be taking fights on 50 HP, especially this early on. You've got to get as many meds as possible and try and not take any more damage. So for them, they're just going to play it safe. But that is exactly the kind of mindset that I want to be seeing. I mean, that mindset of Ammo sitting on there, putting damage after damage into every single player, that's the kind of thing that needs to be happening more often. I mean, if you're just on that game the whole time from the beginning of the match, you have the potential to choke out quite a few teams, because they haven't gotten all the loot. They don't have that many meds, in their bag. You could actually just keep putting damage until they start running out. You choke them out, and you get a free kill. You get some wipes and get some points in the pocket.
Yep, it's going to be an absolutely essential play. I mean, it's good to get into those early engagements. As you pointed out, there's not a lot of meds, not a lot of armor really in place just yet. But that does swing kind of both ways. Now we see Zero Tolerance Mortal trying to pick up the shots toward Jassa. He's just using that ridge line. He's taking quite a bit of damage. Rusty also up ahead. Kage trying to try and just provide an additional bit of support there. Meanwhile, Siko holding on. But Mortal, I like this approach. A little bit on the brave side, moving up, but he does have support from the rest of his team, holding the high angles there. And this could be quite a favorable play, actually, for Zero Tolerance, if they are quick enough to get the hits up and towards players here from Aphelion Apex. You can see that quick disengage coming through. Oh, but meanwhile, there is a rush coming in as Hates and Vibes comes rushing straight on through, picking up Psycho or Sicko in the process. reducing the numbers down to 3 for the side of Aphelion Apex. So a good strike coming in here from Zero Tolerance.
Yeah, nice and aggressive, pushing on in, getting kills. That is what you need to do. That is the mindset that we need to see coming out of these teams. And that's exactly what we are seeing. Aphelion Apex now on the retreat, making sure that they get out of those positions and get up into a more favorable spot here for themselves, away from the rest of the competition. We'll just have to wait and see right now, because so far, though we have gotten some damage, though we have gotten some knocks, we haven't gotten any full wipes here just yet. Of course, as the teams slowly start to stream up into that zone, we have to see some kills. We have to see some wipes somewhere. Otherwise, things are going to spin out of control, because, you know, on the one end of this map, you could potentially not see anyone for ages, and on the other side, you know, you could be potentially stuck in a long-range engagement across the map for 10 minutes. So you really have to be careful when it comes to a map like this. If you have the chance to isolate a team and take them out, or maybe just whittle them down a little bit, you got to take it. You know, otherwise, who knows? You might not be presented with the opportunity again.
Yeah, and the teams need to play this one so carefully, especially over on towards the western side. I mean, if you rotate a little bit too far away and you're not too cautious as to where you're heading, you might be pushing into one of the opposing teams. But now, as we jump straight down into Picado once again, we have this kind of Mexican standoff coming in between the Infinity and Solo. Of course, Ammo just pushing up a little bit closer, inching his way towards Solo. This way we look to see whether Solo will be able to take on the Solo that's moving in the direction. Well, that was a lot of solos, but here we go. As Ndiags gets ready. He does have the support. So a good coverage actually from Solo. The 2-2 split coming in. Samurai and Ndiags holding on this southern position. And then Bjorn and Yujiro holding on to the north. The molly's getting sent on through. Quick jump in. Here we go. Ammo trying his luck. Trying to see if he can reach across. Ooh, come on, nice. There goes a bit of free fire, but he gets spotted. Oh, tries to drop shot, but down he goes. Ammo really efficient with the sprays, but now it is up to Samurai. Yes, he gets the knock, but down he goes. Beautiful retaliation. Up comes Dizzy, now looking to push in. Get the res on his teammate, but Kanto pushing up that back end light. Moving on through well. This is all going to be down to those reaction speeds. And Kanto trying to wrap his way around, trying to inch his way on through. But will he be able to find it? No! Quick reaction coming in from Bjorn. Ooh, up comes the exchange. Down he goes. Yujiro finds the spray, and with that, Kanto gets eliminated. Dizzy, the next one up. Down he goes. Light looking to push in from behind. So this is where Bjorn and his team could definitely turn this one around, as Light also gets sent to dust. And now it is up to Ammo. A beautiful turn of events in favor of Solo, but up they come. Ammo now trying to find the angle. Yojiro trying to push up. Up comes the rush. Bjorn moving in. Oh, jump shot. Down he goes. Beautiful play from Solo.
Wow, I did not expect that outcome at all. I mean, that attack from Ammo and the spearhead from there, that was just a brilliant push. I really thought they were going to be able to clean house, and then immediately they just get turned on, and it does not go in their favor at all. Solo just picking up the pace there and clapping back, retaliating very, very well. And yeah, really surprising me. I thought that was going to go a whole different way, but there we go. We've got our first elimination finally, down to 15 teams. Hopefully not the last. Well, certainly not going to be the last, as the team's now starting to move into that zone, which has shifted up towards the northwest. Once again, getting a little bit smaller, making sure those teams just stay on their toes. Not going to be letting them stay static for too long. Reki up here looking for Kage there from Aphelion Apex as he makes that rotate off into the distance. Not going to find any damage though, so it's just some pot shots in his direction. Nothing too crazy. Right now, these teams are looking to relocate, make sure they're in a good, solid spot to defend the next zone, and potentially keep themselves alive for just a little bit longer. I'm hoping that we see some more aggression coming out of some teams. Of course, I'm keeping my eyes on some of those teams that I want to highlight. You know, we're looking at G3, we're looking at Seven Sins, looking at Natural Killers even, who have really been lackluster in terms of their performances recently. So hopefully they can pull something out here. Of course, Zia in a very, very tough spot. I don't think he's going to come away with this one. He's got a shotgun in the hand and all the way up against G3. That is not going to happen. G3 instantly taking him out. Not letting him, live for too much longer. Yeah, that's generally what happens when you go up against the entire squad of G3 with a shotgun and a staircase.
Yeah, I mean, that is a staircase straight back into the lobby. But now the teams are all starting to trickle back up into zone. We can see ATROX, XO, the players from INF pushing on through all the way from that eastern side. But center zone actually looking pretty decent for the rest of the players here from Black Crystal. If they are able to hold on, yes, they find themselves sitting right there side by side to the players from G3. But Titan already now trying to pick off a few hits. Beautiful shot coming straight on through onto Six God as Titan puts that M24 to beautiful use. Gunner not trying to push on in. Will this be another easy shot? They need to be so careful. That, of course, is the side of G3 I'm referring to. The Titan is patiently waiting. Gunner just surveying the area. But this is actually where Black Crystal could strike down on G3 and cause quite a bit of harm to them.
Yeah, they certainly could. Those long-range shots definitely doing a lot. And Titan doing some really good damage across in towards G3, keeping them honest here in terms of their HPs. They've got to make sure that they don't get caught out again. Otherwise, yeah, like you mentioned, this could maybe just be a problem for them. And Titan's still going for those long-range engagements, doing so much damage over to Six God. If he's not careful, he's going to go down again. G3, they might want to rethink their positioning in that particular building there, which doesn't have much cover on this particular side that Titan is just scoping into. He's quite happy to hold this angle as long as he needs to wait for Six God to peek up again and just take that shot after shot. Six God, I mean, you can see this. Look at that, just teasing on the angle there, baiting out a shot and hopefully trying to stay alive. He's trying to return fire, but hasn't managed to land anything just yet. Right now, it's all the Black Clover, or Crystal, should I say, making it happen here in these long-range shots.
But this is where I'm quite worried about Six. I mean, he knows better than to peek the same spot over and over. And that is exactly what he's doing, is allowing Titan to pop those shots off. I mean, this is ideally where I would have liked to see Six God just utilize that windowsill that he's got, rotate out, reposition on the different side of the building, heck, even rotate back, and that is now what he is doing. But it took him so long to get that maneuver pulled off.
Yeah, I think if he had, decided to dance around that angle a little bit more, or if Titan had landed one more shot, it could have been a little bit of a different scene there. But of course, they do have to get those rotates going. G3 have managed to get up into Hacienda del Patron there, so they will be able to secure themselves a location, as that zone has gone all the way down into the south of that playable area, and all the rest of the teams slowly streaming into their own respective positions. The Magicians coming out from the south in towards Graveyard, about to meet a couple of other teams in the same area. Of course, Rain from Hell and Solo being those two teams. And of course, just above that, we do have a couple of teams concentrating themselves in that area as well. So I'm hoping that we start to see a whole bunch more fights to break out, because 15 teams and 56 players is not a number I want to see for very much longer, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing that for too much longer. Already looking at the positions being occupied within the zone, I definitely think that San Martin, kind of Pecado Plateau, is going to be quite the favorable spot to move into, or just the surrounding area. As we look onto the players now from the Sidemen, looking to apply a bit of pressure onto INF. You can see here, of course, those knocks coming out either side. A Hunter is down, about to get rezzed up. There we go. Matrix coming in for the save. Mercury, meanwhile, is going to be tending to Nico, as he also now gets rezzed right back on through. Utilities getting sent in. Hainsley holding up the front line, trying to wrap his way around. But this is where the Sidemen need to expand their position. They can't be too narrow-minded on the approach. And of course, up comes the hits, though, as Umar sneaks in from behind. Sidemen being quite watchful of that position as Hainsley gets obliterated. And now it is up to the rest of INF to try and hold on. They have been smoking it up, trying to just secure a position to be fighting from. But with the players from Sidemen, as well as the team there from the Immortalz in the vicinity, it's going to be a pretty tough play to pull off successfully.
Yeah. Influence Rage up there with the smokes getting popped to make sure that the Sidemen can't find any cheeky angles into the encampment just yet, but the damage is still being done nonetheless. Taking fight with all of these teams in the surrounding area is not an easy task at all. You can see these teams are not letting anyone escape their sight. Omar with that Mini 14 scanning the horizon, see if any unwitting souls are crossing in the particular vision. Of course, Sleepy now moving up as Influence Rage starts to retreat off into the other direction. You can see ATROX there on your screen, just off to the one side. And of course, Sleepy just making sure that he's keeping an eye on the horizon, as of course that zone has moved and caused them to be able to have a little bit of a gatekeeping position potentially as the other teams try and move down and get themselves a safe spot. It's not going to be easy, and I think I agree with you. These numbers are not going to be standing there for very much longer. We're going to lose quite a number of teams that start moving closer and closer, and things start to become difficult. Because, of course, we know Miramar is the map of all of these angles, and Sully has found one of them, putting a couple good shots in towards I Am High and putting him down into the ground, which does mean that they're going to have to use some more meds on him to make sure he gets back up to full HP. It's a little bit of a war of attrition. Is very much what these maps can come down to. Sometimes it really does come down to how many meds that you still have remaining at the end of the day. Those long-range shots just coming from all sides. Absolutely everyone is content with putting them in right now. ATROX, whether it be G3, everyone else is just trying to find themselves a spot inside the zone, and then they just do as much damage to the teams nearby as possible.
I gotta say, I agree with that rotation coming in from the side of ATROX, moving a little bit further towards the west, but they need to be so careful. As I'm hoping they're doing their scouting, trying to figure out where exactly the side there of G3 is. We can see G3 now looking to strengthen their position up in the north, looking to set up a bit of a gatekeep position there. But with that, INF uses that opportunity to catapult themselves closer to the zone. Meanwhile, ATROX will have the side of XO moving in alongside them. We see Toxic and the Natural Killers also hanging around in the vicinity. Zero Tolerance going for a little bit more of a southern rotation. We see Aphelion Apex up ahead. Could be quite a risky play, but of course there's quite a bit of distance in between the players for Aphelion Apex. Now as we move into the north once again, I'm quite surprised to see the team still sitting here. The blue zone is moving in. XO, Toxic, and ATROX, they need to push back in, and if they take too long, that will allow for the players there from Sidemen as well as G3 to just set up that gatekeep and make it so difficult for them to push back into that zone.
Yeah, it is certainly going to do that. Skulls, of course, putting some shots in there. Going to find Vortex. He goes down. Old Boy also going to feel the pain as Mortal and Hates are putting those shots across. Vibe taken out by Skull, and Godless now finding himself chasing down that blue zone, trying to outrun it. And those shots just coming straight in to nail and Mr. Raji. Not going to have any of it. This is just chaos all across the board as everyone is scrambling, and this is the result of all of these teams still being alive while this blue zone squeezes these players together. Look at the chaos on your screen right now. ATROX rolling on up, XO Redefined squeezing in next to some cover. Natural Killers off in the distance with Toxic and the Sidemen as everyone's trying to get into the zone and continue to keep themselves safe, but they can't because there's just too many teams that are trying to get into the same place, too many crossfires, too many third parties. Everyone is just struggling right now, and the cover is running out. There's not much of it to use in any case. Dead. Oh, he's just putting those shots straight in to absolutely everyone that is coming up behind him. Now he's got to worry about all the teams up in front of him as well, and the blue zone closing in is not going to make any of this easy. I mean, just look at this. The smokes are going down to try and give him a little bit more room to breathe, but nobody is getting anything for free. Even G3 chiming in with some long-range harassment. This is not an easy time for these teams.
Especially with the zone now staying up in the north. None of these teams will have any of that pressure getting lightened just yet. But Toxic now looking just to play on the edge. As we can see them positioned over on towards the western side, but they step up in line of sight of the team from 7 Arts of Killing. Up comes the spray. Bones taking a little bit of damage. Toxic, Reki rather, managing to hold on still a slight tad. But meanwhile, the players from Sidemen just repositioning, getting a little bit further in towards the zone. Cellar also just holding on, getting stuck in the corner of the warehouse down below. ATROX holding on to edge. But here we go. 7 Sins. They've got a little bit of ground to cover to get themselves back into that zone. We're still, of course, sitting with 13 teams alive, 37 players remaining. With that, Caveira starts his assault onto the players from Sidemen. Gets the first knock onto Sleepy. Out comes the confirm. Matrix holding on. pretty close proximity, but those rashes coming through as the players here from AOK look to move in, just utilizing the terrain to sneak their way back into zone. Reki gets spotted out by AOK, but it is not AOK as the shots come in his direction. It's going to be pretty tough rotation. This is where the south is going to be quite a hot spot, Patchy. So many teams moving in. This is going to be just so bloody.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And I mean, with the zone shrinking again, we're in zone 5, moving in towards 6, and that is going to mean that these teams will be not only running out of space, but that blue zone is going to be doing so much damage that you do not want to get caught out in it at all. Breno trying to put some shots across, finding a good bit of damage there. Legacy and Mortal in the meantime falling to their doom. Their Reki is going to get taken out as well. 7 AOK trying to maintain control of their position here. You can see the Magicians pushing up on towards Solo, Samurai, and Bjorn a little bit separated from Yujiro on the other side of that compound. But the nades coming through doing so much damage, just sending them straight out of that particular spot. Yujiro, what a nicely placed nade there to even the odds. And now Syntox on the back foot here. It's a 1v3 for him up against Samurai, first of all. Try and keep control of this particular house. In the meantime, the rest of the teams also go and added Aphelion, Apex rolling on up. You can see them trying to push on in towards 7 AOK, but 7 AOK putting up a great defense here, just making sure that they cannot push up over that hill. It instantly eliminated Aphelion. Apex sent back to that lobby super quick. Syntox still up here with Samurai trying to stay alive in the same house here. Sidemen now turning their attention over towards 7 AOK. They know they're going to have to fight at some stages. That blue zone closing in again is going to mean that the next zone is going to shift. And that's going to mean these teams are probably going to have to make a dash for it again. And that is just chaos, more chaos, and even more chaos. Umar putting the shots across. Sean going to get taken out. Pero gets exploded by a nade from 6. Umar also now getting thirsted away in Kavira, just putting those nails into the coffin. Everyone is just going absolutely ham right now. It's 9 teams remaining, 26 players. These guys are not ready to go out just yet.
It is an absolutely chaotic zone, especially now on the west, as the players here from AOK look to push in Matrix, and the remaining players of Sidemen going to be looking to put up the defenses. Oh, Master taking a bit of shots here, just quickly rotating back in between the hard cover. The players there from Solo looking to push up as well, but the Sidemen are looking to retain control of the west. ATROX up in the north. He gets spotted. Soho gets picked up. Matrix lands a few headshots. Now the pressure is on. G3 strolling on through from the north as well. 8 teams trying to cram themselves up into the zone. Buren keeping a very watchful eye on the players there from INF as they look to push back in. But the zone is going to be so tough. So much terrain to utilize here. You could be sitting right next to one of the opposing teams and almost not even notice that. But here we go. Players from Sidemen looking to push up. Oh, AOK comes moving in. Matrix gets knocked right on down. It is up to Sadboy and the Hunter to strike down. The Immortalz also now feeling the pressure as the team here from AOK get ready to rush. Applying all the pressure they can in from the west. We see Breno holding up behind the tree. Tomac trying to find the sprays across over towards INF. Pressure is on. Here we go. Sidemen coming in. Down goes Kavera. Oh, I'm loving these headshot sounds. Now Skull and Master, the 2 remaining hopefuls, looking to see if they can strike down onto the Sidemen. Oh, but Master gets spotted out in the open as he rushes through the smoke, gets ready to move in. Sadboy now looking to fortify the shack. Will they be able to hold on? AOK right there alongside them. Sadboy sending out a grenade, not before receiving one back into the shack. G3 striking down on towards the Immortalz. You can see off to the side, the pressure is on. The teams moving in. Only 6 remain, 12 players still alive.
Yeah, it is not an easy time for any of these teams right now. A nice nade prepped by Mister there in towards the Sidemen. Hunter gonna have to get flushed out of there and instantly taken down. Not a good spot to be in, but Mister is keeping this place behind. Oh, he's actually gonna try and heal up. That's the wrong time to do that. Gets caught with his heels in hand, and that is not where you want to be at all. 3 teams now remaining. G3 getting themselves to heal back up to try and contend for this chicken dinner. In the meantime, the Sidemen also trying to recuperate a little bit. Solo still in this game. These Senegalese players absolutely really just got the tenacity to stay in this one today. they've really managed to prove themselves as quite a tenacious set of players here. Samurai and Yujiro, of course, now splitting up to try and cover a little bit of ground as G3 doing the same thing. You can see, Gunner trying to move up, and he gets caught out immediately, thirsted by Yujiro there, who just finds him and catches him straight off the guard there. Samurai right up close. Up comes Sad Boy to try and contend, but he's too many players up ahead of him. G3 just outnumbering him and outgunning at this point. Six guard prepping a nade potentially to throw down in towards Hunter there, who's carrying behind a little bit of cover as well. It is G3 versus Solo, should I say. Yujiro and Samurai, the last two players for that team. Six guard going to have to abandon his teammate there as they have to go up against Samurai and Yujiro. It's Burden. This guy has known to put the laser beam shots across, and, well, he's got to do it again as there are two players slowly encroaching on his position there. Yujiro, of course, is going to have to let Samurai go, and that's going to be a little bit unfortunate. Now, first, of course, coming through, that means Yujiro has to go at this alone. It's a 1v2, and he has to contend with Burden first and Six Guard second. Up comes Burden for the quick potential finish, and in fact is just going to immediately challenge and put those shots in. No chance at all for Solo to take that one. They are going to come in second, and G3 will take the chicken dinner once again, and those kills certainly not too shabby.
Yeah, 15 kills, looking very, very comfortable. They're not going to be lying, but absolutely phenomenal performance. I mean, Six God, he just positioned himself so exceptionally well on the high ground. They had a line of sight all the way down on towards Yujiro, all the way through to the finish. But of course, the players from Solo just holding on once again, finishing strong, coming in with 9 kills alongside the 15 kills G3 were able to bring in. And then the Sidemen swooping into that third position with 7 kills on board. So some pretty impressive numbers coming in and some pretty impressive PUBG as well.
Yeah, like I was just thinking to myself, they had 15 kills, which means they technically could have killed one member from each team in that particular. Big shout out to GT Temper. They came through the way that I remember them, which is always having a great match on Miramar. Patchy, what was your surprise from that? Which team surprised you the most in that particular match?
I have to just echo what I said there towards the end. I really have to give it to Solo for their tenacity in today's games. They've really stepped up and, of course, proven that they are a team to contend with potentially. They've really shown up a little bit more than I think I certainly expected, and maybe a lot of other people. They are currently sitting pretty high up in the leaderboard as well, so they've really managed to climb a few spots over today's games. And I think they're probably a team that one has to watch out for. So definitely very impressed by them. And of course, also finally good to see G3 just showing up as we expect him. As you said, Dr. Sid, good to see them back on where we know they can perform. But definitely, I think Solo is probably impressed with the most today.
So I just receiving word that the standings for this particular match have been updated. So we'll be taking a look at them very shortly. But very quickly, I guess we have the standings now. DK, talk us through what we're looking at here.
Well, of course, we see the players there from G3 bringing in an absolutely exceptional game, finishing so strong on a 30-pointer. Absolutely amazing stuff. Solo being pretty consistent throughout the day here. 2 absolutely phenomenal games in which they finished strong in second place. Of course, bringing in 21 points in this and 7 sins. Arts of Killing finishing up in that third position. 10 kills on board, 18 total points. So this is going to be such a very nice day for them. I mean, we see such a strong representation coming in. South Africa sitting at the top. We've got the players from Senegal coming into second with such a strong performance. And then, of course, we got the players finishing up from Angola. I mean, this is impressive numbers. No matter which way around you look at it, that is pretty exceptional gameplay that we've seen across the board. And of course, as we look onto our second page, this is where things looks a little bit more tough. But, we see teams on here that we are not used to seeing all the way on that second page.
Yeah, look at Toxic Esports, man. Toxic Esports all the way up there in 10th position. I mean, this is like a big leap. I'm hoping that the points they've put up can at least move them up in the overall standings, because we do know for a fact that they definitely need to be moving up in the overall leaderboard. Now, I don't know what's happening with Black Crystal or Rain from Hell, But like we saw in that match, obviously looking at the MVP right now, 6 scored from GT Temple with 7 kills, 819 damage, and a survival time of 24 minutes and 28 seconds. Patchy, are you expecting any big moves in the overall leaderboard?
Honestly, I think that the top spots are not really the biggest focus at the moment. I think those teams have basically secured their positions. Really, you can see G3, of course, top in the charts at the moment, as we expect of them, especially after a double chicken performance and that 30 bomb in that previous game. Is to be expected. I mean, these teams that are sitting on page number 1, and especially these top 5 teams, really have been quite consistent with their performance. They've really been showing up. They've been not necessarily getting chicken after chicken, but they've been getting points, and in the form of kills, which is why we've been emphasizing kills so much lately. You can see G3 Temper sitting at the top. Rilla Insiders, of course, still maintaining their position. We got 4KT. That's a no-brainer. KHK, Zero Tolerance. Good to see Solo Esports in position number 6 at the moment. So nice to see them up on page number 1 as well, and right up there with the best of them. Seven Sins AOK still maintaining their position here on page number 1, and the Sidemen actually now in position number 8. So some standard stuff coming out of these teams. Those are the teams we expect to be there. Of course, now having seen some of these teams getting bumped down to the second page, not the end of the world. I mean, these are still top performing teams. These are still really, really good teams. Teams like Aphelion Apex, like C Esports, even Team Somalia and Influence Rage, they're still good to go. ATROX, of course, nice to see them up here in position number 14, as I mentioned, making sure that they are still up with the best of them, which is good to see. And, of course, BBC in number 16, very nice to see them make a show face. Of course, really where the biggest issues start to come through is going to be in pages number 3 and 4, because these are the pages where things need to change, right? These are the pages where the big changes have to come through. Right now, you can see the Natural Killers down in 23 and Fear in 24 is going to mean that the barrier for sort of entry up into the third page is going to be around there. It's not great to see like Rain from Hell and the Magicians and even Rainbow Six down here on page number 3, but at least they're still safe. The problem is when you're on page number 3, there is always that little nagging possibility of slipping down into maybe potentially the bottom of the page and even onto page number 4, which is where we start to see teams like Comfy 6, EXO Redefined. These are 2 teams that have needed to put points on the board more consistently, and we did see Comfy 6 start to do that. Unfortunately, they've been bumped back down now that the other teams have played their games, but EXO Redefined has moved their way up a little bit in terms of that leaderboard. They just need a few more points. If they can put more consistent performances on, they might be able to move themselves out of this page. But right now, it's really like the time for action is slowly running out. So things need to get done ASAP.
And I actually noticed that Toxic Esports, despite all the points they kind of grabbed today, is still in Boston. DK, what are we looking at in terms of kill leaders? We can still see that the guys from Slime 4KT are doing well in there. Obviously, GT Tempest coming through with a few candidates. So what's happening? Who are these guys and what are they doing right to be in the kill leader zone?
Well, of course, we only see 2 players that have played today sitting up on the sheet here, as we have not seen Rilla Insider or Slime 4KT actually participating today. But I'm looking to see the difference that we've had come in. Of course, starting the day off, we did have 5 from 4KT sitting in that 4 slot. But Gunner has now been surpassed by Buren, who's jumped up ahead of him. But in today's games, we did see Gunner moving up from 4,400 damage all the way up to 5,300 damage. So he has been doing just over 800 damage today. So that is some pretty impressive numbers. Of course, not finding any kills. So the 24 we see there is unchanged for him. But of course, Buren being able to move himself up into a bit of a stronger position is going to be quite exciting, as he's now, there's 2 players from G3 finding themselves up in our top killer page. So it shows that G3 has that ability to get down to business. They've shown that in the last match. And of course, also a beautiful finish coming in our second match as well. So good to see the players from G3 stepping up once again. We've seen them be aggressive in so many times before, in so many weeks before, as well as the different seasons. And, you want to see the teams return to form, stepping back up, performing the way that we know they perform. And that is where I'm looking to see, of course, teams like INF also stepping back into that limelight. Zero Tolerance stepping back up, because those are also teams that we've been seeing some exceptional PUBG come from before.
Yeah, and talking about exceptional PUBG, that is what we expect in the Umzansi Esports League. This is still season 4, brought to you by Nordwind Gaming. My name is Dr. Sid. I want to say big thank you to Patchy and DK. It's been an amazing day. There is still more action coming to you this weekend, obviously tomorrow, with more PUBG action and gaming from the Umzansi Esports League. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to say goodnight. Enjoy yourselves. Go watch our feedback, the VODs on all our platforms, and catch up on all the action. Especially go check out nordwindgaming.africa. And we will see you tomorrow for some more action in the Umzansi Esports League. This is Season 4.